I'm going to be starting ECW from the ground and take it all the way up as high as I can go in 1 year. I'm starting with $0, zero popularity, and just because I'm ECW doesn't mean that it's Paul Heyman ECW. It's me. I'm running ECW. The only thing that it's the same is we do have the same championships. So, kind of. So yeah, we're going to be starting from the ground up. We are located in the tri-state area, and I went for a more modern product style, and I went for a hardcore, which is the same as GCW. Same location, the tri-state area, and similar. I feel like GCW is kind of like the closest we got right now is used ECW. So I thought that was fitting. The only problem is now we have two companies very, very similar competing against each other, which is definitely going to hurt me, but also means that there's a lot of people in this area with the, with the style that I'm looking for. To spend as little money as possible starting off, I'm going to look for people that are located near the tri-state. Once I get to it here, so near tri-state, because we don't want to be paying for people's travel, and so we need a ref. So let's go ahead and get AJ Kissinger, and basically it's just going down the list here. So obviously we want more hardcore people, but it's not a necessity. Here he's got good hardcore though, so let's go ahead. He's a little more expensive though because he wants 110, so we're not gonna offer him money. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna offer people contracts, and then we will I'll show off the roster once we get them. So I probably signed more people than I needed to, but this is what we got. So we got AJ Kissinger. Here. There we go. Anakin Murphy, Anthony Gangon, Bam Sullivan, Brandon Kirk, Casanova Valentine, Channing Decker, Cole Rederick, Connor Claxton, DW Anderson, Dale Patricks, Danny Demento, Danny Doring, Danny Miles, Derek Moore, DJ Hyde, me, Eddie Only, Eric Ryan, John Greed, John Wayne Murdoch, Josh Crane, Joshua Bishop, Just Incredible, Katie Arquette, Ken Broadway, Kid Osborne, KTB, LeBron Cozone, Laura Crew, Lucky 13, Malcolm Monroe III, Masada, Mickey Knuckles, MV Young, Nate Webb, Necro Butcher, Neil Diamond Cutter, Reed Bentley, Ruben Steele, Ruckus, Ryan Davidson, Satu Jin, Simon Dean, The Blue Meanie. Oh, and that's it. Yeah, and there was probably more people I could have signed. I just literally was going down like the roster looking for people with hardcore. It's probably not the best because I'm sure there's, we need to look for also good wrestlers, but we're going to play around with that. We're going to see how it goes. But that's our roster. We'll obviously, get some more people as we go. Problem that I had experienced while simulating to get to see, where everyone, to get people to sign or whatever. We had a production and it was pretty high. And I was like, why are we $9,000 in debt? So I went in and I disabled it. We are now back all the way down to the minimum, but we definitely took a hit because while we were simulating, having absolutely no shows, we lost $9,000 because of it. So, the Bronco Zone is whatever. So that was a big hit, but hopefully we'll come back from that. And then next thing I did was I upgraded the merchandise. I started an upgrade. We were already in one, I guess, which is weird. So yeah, we are now at number 2. We're going through number 2. I think I just started it. So rapidly doing merchandise is a good way to get money as quick as possible. So that's what we're gonna do. Most likely we were gonna already start in debt, but I guess this is unfortunately how we start. And I'm gonna make myself commentator because I thought I was better at commentating than that. I don't remember whose skills I copied over. Okay, so I'm good at color. I guess we'll do that. Whatever. So what I want to check, I want to make sure we have people that can be a road agent. I'm not sure. There wasn't a lot of options here. Danny Demento. I don't know about you. I think let's get rid of Reed Bentley as road agent. John Wayne can stay, and so can Danny Demento. I don't know. Maybe let's take John Wayne off actually, and then let's get our booking team together. DJ Hyde and Danny Demento. Looks like the only person that will really be that good is Danny Demento will be okay. We just can't remove him, so let's put him on because he's a lot better than DJ Hyde, but let's also put DJ Hyde in there as well. Let's do our inner circle here. Let's see the candidates. There's nobody that's good for this. Maybe there's gonna be nobody good for this at all though. Let's see. Okay, we won't do this stuff now because there's no one that's good for him. So let's go ahead and we'll get into our first show and start the book. Obviously, since we have 0 popularity, we're gonna not be able to get any broadcasters, but we're gonna do a show anyway. So this is Anarchy Rules 2025. Obviously, we're not gonna give anybody a night off because I don't know who I'm using yet. Yeah, this is fine. I wish we could do the 2300 arena, but there's no way. 51 fans. Unfortunately, the ring has been accidentally sent to the wrong place. You managed to sort a replacement at short notice, and a live event can still go ahead, but it's not great quality, and there are a small penalty to show overall ratings. Great. I'm glad to see that. Continue. Neil Diamond Cutter lifted the locker room when a silly game he created quickly became very popular backstage. Eric Moore and Danny Doyne are now travel buddies. Good for them. Let's inspire them. Let's get everyone buzzing before our first show. It is time for Anarchy Rules 2025. Eddie only defeats Brandon Kirk with a wrestling rating of 46, crowd of 23, and a segment rating of 34. Brandon Kirk was the better performer here with a 51, Eddie only with a 42. This match lacked from a lack of psychology, and I think that's probably going to be consistent throughout because we are on the lower end. I could be wrong, but we'll see how it goes. I will say there's no championship matches on this. I'm going to base things off of who I think has the best performances. That's what's going to push them to be championship contenders. I mean, Brandon Kirk put in a good showing, so I know this is only first match though, so let's go ahead and continue here. See, because there's another great performance. Masada defeats Nate Webb in a barbed wire match. It's got a wrestling rating of 50, a crowd rating of 21, and a segment rating of 44. Nate Webb had a performance of 46, Masada with a 54. Nate Webb's gimmick was good, but Masada's wasn't. Mickey Knuckles debuted as a ref, which I don't want her to, so I'm going to take that off after the show, but it hurt the match. And then we have Lord Crew defeating Danny Miles in a wild brawl. This was a wrestling rating of 41, crowd rating of 7, they did not care, and a segment rating of 42. Danny Miles with a 39 performance, where Lord Crew had a 44 performance. The BWO returns to ECW to defeat the Rejects. You know, with a horrible performance from the BWO standard. I guess 17 wasn't as bad, but it's at a wrestling rating of 40, crowd rating of 20, and a segment rating of 37. Blue Meanie had a 22 performance, which is awful. Simon Dean with a 42, Reed Bally with a 45, and John Wayne Murdoch with a 50. Danny Demento did not do well as a road agent. That sucks to see. And it says 2 crazy matches in quick succession didn't really work out. That's something that's a little worrying because this one was only a mayhem match, so this may definitely change how things go from now on if this is the case. But I guess there's a bunch of bumps and stuff. Maybe that's the problem. Anakin Murphy defeats Ruckus in a high spots match with a wrestling rating of 38, crowd rating of 21, segment rating of 35. Although Ruckus I knew was going to do better, I don't know how long we're going to have Ruckus, so that's why I didn't want to push him. But Anakin Murphy had a 31 performance where Ruckus had a 45. Still, he had a great match, so I can't handle on that. Well, he did good, but the match was kind of lackluster because of Anakin, it looks like, and the fact that Mikey Knuckles was the referee and did not do good. KTB defeats DJ Hyde with a wrestling rating of 46, crowd rating of 25, and a segment rating of 40. DJ Hyde with a 39 performance, KTB with a 53 performance. Danny Demento again did poor. This sucks. Wow. In our main event, Neil Diamond Cutter defeats Necro Butcher in a death match with a wrestling rating of 49, crowd of 20, and a segment rating of 34. Necro Butcher broke his toe, and Diamond Cutter sustained chronic hip pain. So I guess it's not terrible. I don't know. I don't really do death matches that much. Is this? I wonder if this is normal. We'll see. You know how things continue. But yeah, both these guys got injured. Necro Butcher with a 45, Neil Diamond Cutter with a 53. I'm really impressed with that. So that was our main event. I wish I could go back and I could see. I think I can when I'm done. But this increased our popularity in one region. This show definitely sucked. And yeah, there's a lot of other problems. But so that's the people that come out to my mind is Neil Diamond Cutter, and it's because he was so recent. And then who else did really good? Brandon Kirk. Were those the 2 top performers? Okay, so Neil Diamond Cutter's out for a year. He can be worked through. Wow. So he'll be able to have surgery, but there's no way we're going to be able to pay him for surgery. And then Necro Butcher had a broken toe. So I don't know if it's really worth. We lost some money there as expected. I don't really know if it's going to be worth pushing him because, like I said, I think he was going to be one of our guys to push in the title picture, but I don't think that's going to be the case. And damn, that is bad. I've never seen. He's just chronically in pain, I guess is really what it is. And he's still going to wrestle though, which is insane. So what I'm understanding from looking at this is that even though he's hurt, it's not impacting his ability to perform. So I don't know. From what I get is that he's able to perform, but he's probably likely to get hurt easier. That's just from what I'm thinking. I'm not entirely sure, or I don't really know. Oh, I can see everyone's performances here too. But so let's go ahead. Anyways, we're moving on from that because there's nothing we can do at the moment. So Brandon Kirk had a 51 performance. Okay, Masada with 54, KTB with a 53, Diamond Cutter with a 53. So we'll make our next main event Neil Diamond Cutter versus KTB versus Masada. And a triple threat might be nice, especially to give a test to see if Neil Diamond Cutter is in bad and more like in worse shape than I thought. We'll see really his condition then. And now that we have our first show in the book, I got a better picture here on our franchise players. And this says that we got Simon Dean, MV Young, Masada, Katie Arquette, and Joshua Bishop. Then we got our Talk to Talks people, Showstoppers, Ring Generals. I'm not too worried about our franchise players because everyone's kind of in the same level popularity wise, except for obviously like Simon Dean, who has, name value. Simon Dean is not going to win the world title, unfortunately, because he's 52 years old and he's an ECW guy original, but I don't think he's really going to fit our style moving forward. So ECW Barely Legal starts off with a match between Nate Webb, oh my god, Nate Webb and Necro Butcher in a hardcore match with a wrestling rating of 45, crowd rating of 21, segment rating of 42, Nate Webb with a 47 performance, Necro Butcher with a 44 performance, and they both took, Nate Webb took a stump bump and then Necro Butcher took a crazy bump. Maybe I'm being a little bit needy or whatever, I guess whatever, selfish, but Nate Webb does not want to do stump bumps, and I feel like he's good, but like the other guys are doing stump bumps, and crazy bumps. He's doing a stump bump. I'm at crazy bumps, he's not, he doesn't want to do them, it's a little crazy to me. Anyways, Lord Crew defeats Kit Osborne in a wild brawl with a wrestling rating of 39, crowd rating of 16, sub rating of 40. Lord Crew with a 38 performance, Kit Osborne with a 40 performance. Now Lord Crew, obviously he didn't perform the best. I'm kind of hoping I can get Lord Crew over a little bit better just because he is the best brawler we got, and wild brawls are kind of a necessity in this. What we can do is steal the show or wild brawl, but I like doing the wild brawl. I think that's pretty cool aspect if we focus on like kind of like a brawlers division. I've never really done something like that before, and I think pushing him is kind of a cool idea. So, and he's a local guy for me, so I'm a little biased. Anyways, the Young Dragons defeat the Blue World Order and Your Dads to win the ECW tag team titles. Once again, the ECW tag team titles are, oh no, there's something later down the line that I gotta say, but the ECW titles once again have a home here on the Young Dragons. This had a wrestling rating of 27, crowd rating of 15, and a segment rating of 31. This is Simon Dean was head and shoulders above everyone else, which you can kind of see that. Blue Meanie with a 19, Simon Dean with a 42, Dale Patrick with a 25, Josh Crane with a 24, Connor Claxton with a 21, Brandon Kirk with a 28. This was also a normal match, and I wonder if, not necessarily the Blue World Order, but if the other two teams would have done better if it wasn't a normal match. I'm not sure how that works. But anyways, you can already see the red there at the bottom. Josh Crane and Dale Patrick have zero chemistry as partners, and Brandon Kirk and Connor Claxton have zero chemistry as partners, even though they were already pre-partners in the game. So that's like, these are 3 of our 4 tag teams, and 2 of them now do not get along as partners. So, and one of them is our champions. So yeah, I should have booked them together in a match before I threw the titles on them, but we roll. So let's go ahead and continue. The Bronco Zone defeated Anthony Gangon. This was a mayhem match here with a rating of 36, crowd rating of 12, sub rating of 39. LeBron had a 40 performance, Anthony with a 33 performance. MV Young cuts a promo on his way out to the ring because he is having a match right now against Katie Arquette, where he loses to Katie Arquette with a wrestling rating of 40, crowd rating of 22, and a sub rating of 43. Katie Arquette with a 37 performance, MV Young with a 43 performance. Masada defeats Neil Diamond Cutter and KTB when Masada pinned Neil Diamond Cutter. Masada wins the ECW heavyweight title. That's amazing. Masada with a 50 performance, Neil Diamond Cutter with a 42, KTB with a 45. I don't know if I said this already, but this had a wrestling rating of 46, crowd rating of 25, and a sub rating of 42. It says Neil Diamond Cutter was handicapped by trying to work through an injury, even though he tried to work through the pain. So it is going to hurt us overall. So we're not gonna be able to use Neil Diamond Cutter from now on. I'll see if I can use him in any other capacity, but not in matches, unfortunately. At least he got, he went out on a title match. He didn't win it, but still. Congratulations to Masada. His 43 performance, way better than the last one, I'm pretty sure. Gained their popularity in 1. Let's go ahead and compliment Masada and Neil Diamond Cutter, because Neil Diamond Cutter, he tried, and Masada won our title. Yeah, we gained our popularity. We have a 1 point now in the tri-state. It's time for Guilty as Charged. Casanova Valentine defeats Necro Butcher, Jesus, in a Flaming Tables match when Necro Butcher was put through a table, set a wrestling reign of 40, a crowd reign of 20, semi-reign of 27. This one really did bad. I don't know if it's because of Casanova's injury here, or because it also dragged in the middle, but I don't know if it dragged in the middle because of it. All I know is this was bad. Maybe I made it even too long. Necro had a 36 performance, where Casanova had a 43 performance. It didn't do good. It did not do very good. Speaking of not doing very good, Anthony Gangon defeats CW Anderson with a 33 wrestling rating, 19 crowd rating, and a 19 semi rating. I've noticed though, these matches aren't doing too well, but the crowd's into them. So I guess, I don't know, maybe that's good? I don't know. I don't think so, because I don't think we're going to gain popularity. MB Young defeats Joshua Bishop with a wrestling rating of 47, crowd rating of 20, and a semi rating of 46. Josh with a 44, MB Young with a 49, and it looks like Neil Diamond Cutter did not do good with his new job as a road agent. Anakin Murphy defeats Nate Webb with a wrestling rating of 38, crowd rating of 21, and a segment rating of 38. Anakin with a 36, Nate Webb with a 40. Lord Crew defeats KTB in a parking lot brawl match with a wrestling rating of 45, crowd rating of 22, segment rating of 47. KTB at a 47, Lord Crew at a 43. The Rejects defeat Katie Arquette and Brandon Kirk. This had a wrestling rating of 45, crowd rating of 24, and a segment rating of 49. My plan is to test out different tag team combinations through people I have on the roster, and looks like they did pretty good together, so maybe I'll keep them together. I don't know why I did this, but we have an Iron Survivor match here. Eddie Only defeats Bam Sullivan, Josh Crane, LeBron Cazone, and Satu Jin in an Iron Survivor match. Iron Survivor. I'm not saying I'm saying like Survivor. Set a wrestling rating of 41, crowd rating of 16, and a semi rating of 34. And the main event, Masada defeats Simon Dean to retain the ECW World Heavyweight title with a wrestling rating of 35, crowd rating of 25, and a semi rating of 35. Masada with a 36, Simon Dean with a 34. Everyone just overall did poor. We gained popularity in one region. We did better than the last show, it looks like, but I still feel like we did poor. To be honest, nobody stood out to me. KTB did a little bit, and that's about it, to be honest. Let's go ahead and compliment Necro Butcher, just because people are going to be upset with him, so give him a little bit of a morale boost. It was only 7 days, it's fine. Broken fingers, I feel like with these type of matches, broken fingers is it's a forgivable offense. Maybe I'm wrong. ECW Blood Drive starts with Nate Webb defeating Kit Osborne with a wrestling rating of 51, crowd rating of 19, segment rating of 54. Kit had a performance of 54, where Nate Webb had a performance of 48. Thought Nate was going to do better this time, so I had Nate go over, and I second guessed myself, but I should have had Kit go. It's okay though, it's okay. KTB gets his revenge on Lord Crew in a parking lot brawl. I forgot to remove Neil Diamond Cutter as a road agent, so this is going to mess things up. Set a wrestling rating of 51, crowd rating of 22, and a segment rating of 49. Lord Crew with a 48 performance, KTB with a 54. Necro Butcher defeats CW Anderson with a wrestling rating of 34, crowd rating of 21, segment rating of 25. Necro Butcher with a 34, CW Anderson with a 34, and they do not click, and it makes for an awkward bout. It's sad to see. Katie Arquette and Brandon Kirk defeat the Young Dragons to win the ECW Tag Team titles. Set a wrestling rating of 33, crowd rating of 18, semi rating of 20. I didn't get these titles off them, and I didn't want to just vacate it. So the Young Dragons now have lost their tag team titles, and I'm just going to disband them as a tag team because they do not have good chemistry together. Apparently, Katie Arquette was performing bad, but I guess if we just keep booking her in Mayhem matches, then she'll be okay, because she did a 37, which is okay. Definitely not great, but the same exact performance of Brandon Kirk. So Joshua Bishop defeats Mikey Knuckles with a wrestling rating of 43, crowd rating of 18, semi rating of 43. Joshua Bishop with a 47, and Mickey Knuckles with a 40. And I don't know, someone might say it, I know I could take Neil Diamond Cutter off and put someone else in the return to booking screen, but I feel like it's not, I don't think it's realistic to change it mid-match, because obviously that's not that was who was set to, you know, work the match and produce the match. So I don't want to just go ahead and change it because that isn't really realistic to me. Casanova Valentine defeats Just Incredible in an I Quit match. Set a wrestling rating of 36, crowd rating of 18, semi rating of 24. Just Incredible with a 43 performance, Casanova with the 29 performance. After that match, Just Incredible cuts a promo and he announces his retirement from wrestling. I don't even know if he's wrestling in real life, but in this game, he announced his retirement from wrestling. So that was his last match. He quit, but he also quit the wrestling business. This got a semi rating of 38. He improvised well through the segment, and then Neil Diamond kind of ruined it with his horror road agent abilities, but it's okay. It's okay. Facade defeats Diego Hill in a high spots match, and this one actually came out pretty well, which is why I wanted to do it. Set a wrestling rating of 48, crowd rating of 13, semi rating of 50. Facade had a 49 performance, Diego Hill with a 47. Crowd heat was still very hot, so it definitely didn't kill the crowd heat, so, and everyone liked it, so definitely a good choice on my part. The only problem is I got a huge roster of people that I need to kind of clean up at some point. But anyways, in the main event, Masada defeats John Wayne Murdoch to make defense number 2 of his ECW World Heavyweight Championship with a wrestling rating of 53, crowd rating of 29, and a segment rating of 55. John Wayne Murdoch with a performance of 58, Masada with a 49. John Wayne took a stump bump, Masada took a stump bump. Did you know that most people watching right now are not subscribed? If that's you, no worries. Just hit subscribe. It's free and you won't miss any new videos. And if you're really enjoying this, tap that like button. It really helps. Alright, back to the video. And this increased our popularity in one region. It was a 52, our best show yet. So big things. We're doing big things. And I will say I changed our schedule. So now we're gonna have 2 shows every month. We're gonna have our named shows, like this one was Blood Drive, and then we're gonna have an ECW, just ECW numbered show. So we're gonna have 2 shows a month. The ECW shows are gonna be a lesser show, but this way we can increase our popularity, you know, a little bit quicker. But we also don't have to produce such a high level show either, you know, the second show of the week, of the month, I mean. So I did notice the Facade had an awful gimmick, so let's go ahead and change that here. It's too soon to consider changing his gimmick. I feel like we have to. I don't really know. I don't really. This is something I need to do because I always just don't mess with gimmicks, but I know I need to. So let's give him a swagger gimmick. I'm just gonna make it his name, and then that'll take place next show. I'm just gonna go ahead and make Neil Diamond Cutter a manager, and we'll give him. Who should he manage? Have him manage Masada. Help him get Masada over more. I don't know if he really will, but here we go. Put all of our eggs in one basket here. ECW number 1 starts with Eric Ryan beating Kevin Bennett. Set a wrestling rating of 38, crowd rating of 16, and a segment rating of 41. Kevin Bennett with a 40, Eric Ryan with a 36. Then we have Joshua Bishop defeating BK Westbrook. Set a wrestling rating of 33, crowd rating of 15, segment rating of 37. Joshua Bishop with a 45, BK with a 21. We have the Miracle Generation defeating Connor Claxton and Channing Decker. This had a wrestling rating of 38, crowd rating of 12, segment rating of 41. Looks like the Miracle Generation, Kylan King had a 47, Dustin Waller had a 48. They did pretty good, where Channing Decker and Connor Claxton did not do so well here. Then we have Kit Osborne defeating Ken Broadway. The wrestling rating of 40, crowd rating of 19, segment rating of 43. Kit Osborne with a 44 performance, Ken Broadway with a 36, and looks like they have good chemistry, so this is great. Then we have Diego Hill defeating Danger Hawk with a wrestling rating of 39, crowd rating of 13, segment rating of 42. Diego Hill with a 44 performance, Danger Hawk with a 34. We have LeBron Cozone defeating Mike Mundo with a wrestling rating of 32, crowd rating of 14, segment rating with a 33. Mike Mundo had a 30 performance, where LeBron had a 35. Facade defeats Nate Webb with a wrestling rating of 36, a crowd rating of 18, and a segment rating of 38. Facade had a 32 performance, Nate Webb with a 39. And we're going to change his gimmick here, and it got a very good rating, so that's very good. And then our main event, ATB defeated Eddie Only with a wrestling rating of 37, crowd rating of 24, and a segment rating of 32. Looks like Eddie Only got a broken jaw in this match. KTB with a 45 performance, Eddie Only with a 29, and it looks like it definitely hurt him because of it. Hurt the match. Set a 39 performance, so this didn't boost our popularity. Broken jaw can be worked through for 21 days. I don't plan on pushing it though. Hardcore Heaven starts off with Mickey Knuckles defeating Dale Patricks with a wrestling rating of 42, a crowd rating of 17, and a segment rating of 44. Mickey had a 41 performance, where Dale had a 43 performance. So Dale Patricks debuted a new spot that got great heel heat. Good. ATB defeats Reed Bentley with a wrestling rating of 49, crowd rating of 21, segment rating of 49. KTB had a performance of 51, Reed Bentley with a 46. Ooh, this one sucked. Casanova Valentine defeated Satu Jin in a dog collar match. This had a wrestling rating of 31, crowd rating of 18, segment rating of 22. Casanova with a 28, Satu with a 33. Yeah, looks like the bout dragged in the middle, so maybe I made it too long. And then two crazy matches in quick succession didn't work well, so I need to get better at breaking things up a little bit better. But speaking of breaking things up a little bit, Miles and MV Young defeat the Blue World Order with a wrestling rating of 35, crowd rating of 18, and a segment rating of 35. MV Young carried the match in terms of ring performance. Blue Meanie with a 32, 17 with a 29, MV Young with a 47, Danny Miles with a 30. Anthony Gangone defeats Bam Sullivan in a barbed wire match with a wrestling rating of 42, crowd rating of 19, segment rating of 42. Bam with the 41, Anthony with the 43. LeBron Cozone defeats CW Anderson with a wrestling rating of 38, crowd rating of 18, segment rating of 40. LeBron with a 43, CW Anderson with a 32. CW Anderson also announced his retirement, so he will be retiring here very, very soon. Kit Osborne defeats Kylon King with a wrestling rating of 33, crowd rating of 18, segment rating of 37. Kit Osborne with a 42, Kylon King with a 25. Masada defeats Facade to retain the ECW World Heavyweight title with a wrestling rating of 45, crowd rating of 25, segment rating of 44. Masada with a 42 performance, Facade with a 49 performance, and Neil Diamond Cutter did good at ringside, so I guess I'm glad we're getting some use out of him in his injury. But yeah, I'm impressed with Facade getting a 49. Obviously I put him in the title match because I feel like his performances have been good, but yeah, I didn't expect this. He outperformed the champ. Got a 46 performance, not our best show, but definitely one of our better ones. Let's go ahead and compliment Facade, and let's also compliment Neil Diamond Cutter. Those two people stuck out to me right away. Probably recency bias, but we are 3 popularity now. Wow, we're really growing. Defeating Mickey Knuckles in a tables match, the wrestling rating of 42, crowd rating of 19, segment rating of 45. Anthony with a 44 performance, Mickey with a 40. Facade defeats Lord Crew with a wrestling rating of 44, crowd rating of 20, and a segment rating of 44. Facade with a 44, Lord Crew with a 43. The Miracle Generation defeats Miles and NV Young with a wrestling rating of 44, crowd rating of 19, segment rating of 46. Alan King had a 44 performance, Dustin Waller with a 46, NV Young with a 40, Danny Miles with a 37. Reed Bentley defeats Kit Osborne with a wrestling rating of 40, crowd rating of 18, segment rating of 42. Reed Bentley with a 40, Kit Osborne with a 40 as well. This match I thought was going to do a lot better, but Kevin Bennett defeats Flip Kendrick, the wrestling rating of 36, crowd rating of 13, summer rating of 38. Flip Kendrick with the 35, Kevin Bennett with the 37, and looks like they don't have good chemistry, which made that an awkward bout. And this one didn't do much better. Set a wrestling rating of 35, crowd rating of 22, summer rating of 38. Katie Arquette and Kirk defeats the Blue World Order. Brandon Kirk with a 43, Katie Arquette with a 32, Blue Meanie with a 34, 17 with a 31. And then Katie Arquette was off her game. Another main event, Masada defeats KTB to make defense number 4 of the ECW World Heavyweight title. This had a wrestling rate of 45, crowd rating of 28, segment rating of 41. This match was too long. I think it was just a hardcore match. That was with Masada with a 42, KTB with a 47. I'm not sure. Something I am noticing though is that Masada is not doing so good compared to other people that he's going up against. So that's something that I got to take into consideration here. Maybe it's time to move on. We'll see how it goes though. Got an overall rating of 44. Didn't hurt us, but it also didn't increase our popularity at all. We're starting off Heat Wave here. It's kind of a stinker. We have a tag team match with Miles Young and MV Young defeating Broadway and Jin. But that's kind of a fun name. I don't know why. This had a wrestling rating of 38, crowd rating of 18, segment rating of 39. MV Young still is the standout here, but Danny Miles getting an injury to sustaining a strained rotator cuff in this match. MV Young with a 51 performance, Danny Miles with a 32, Satu Jin with a 40, and Ken Broadway with a 27. These tag team matches, I don't have any really tag teams. I'm trying to kind of figure out like combinations and stuff, but it's not really working. It looks like Broadway and Jin do not do well together anyways, so looks like they will not be moving further. Locker was not happy with Satu Jin after the botch he caused. MV Young cuts a promo afterwards, kind of celebrating his victory. That got a segment rating of 43. Then we have KTB defeating John Wayne Murdoch in a death match. KTB wins the ECW Tri-State title. The Tri-State tri-state title was formerly the television title, but I felt like since we weren't on TV, it would be kind of weird to have it be named the TV title. So this is the tri-state title, but same title that you all know. It's had a wrestling rating of 55, crowd rating of 30, and a segment rating of 58. KTB with a 50 performance, where John Wayne had a 60 performance. Diego Hill defeats BK Westbrook in a TLC match with a wrestling rating of 36, crowd rating of 12, and a segment rating of 38. BK Westbrook with a 32, Diego Hill with a 40. Then after the match, we have BK Westbrook attacking Diego Hill. I tested out a storyline with these two because I saw that these two were friends, at least in the game, but it looks like they're not good enough to make this a long-standing feud, so we'll finish it off, but I don't think it's going to be much. Then next we have Joshua Bishop defeating Ace Perry with a wrestling rating of 29, crowd of 16, segment rating of 34. Joshua Bishop with a 41, Ace Perry with a 18. Ace Perry was rusty. I know we haven't used him, but I guess he just hasn't been wrestling anywhere else either, so that's unfortunate. He also got a bad gimmick, a poor gimmick that is. And then we have Simon Dean and Blue Meanie, the BWO, that, I don't know, that was so hard to get out, the Blue World Order, and a segment, just kind of, lifting up the crowd a little bit. These guys aren't really performing the way I wish they could, especially the Blue Meanie, so it's nice to have them around though, so I'm having them kind of just be in, a comic relief segments, and look, it did really well, so. And then we have Facade defeating Reed Bentley with a wrestling rating of 44, crowd rating of 20, and a segment rating of 47. Facade with a 47, Reed Bentley with a 42. Facade has quickly become one of my guys here. He's been performing very well. Then in our main event, Masada defeats Brandon Kirk with a wrestling rating of 45, crowd rating of 28, segment rating of 40. Masada with a 47, Brandon Kirk with a 43. I didn't expect Brandon Kirk to do so well, but he did pretty good. He's like in our top 5. He's like the bottom. He's the 5th one. So I guess I should use him a little bit more than just the tag team guy, I guess so. But he is still a tag team champion though after this match. And this is a 49 show, increased the popularity in one region. It's a pretty good show. There's definitely some things we still need to figure out. I feel like I'm getting things down, but just like the mid card, I'm struggling still. We don't have the depth that I am hoping for, and I keep trying on new things and nothing seems to be sticking. KTB's doing really well. John Wayne's doing good, but John Wayne's barely ever here. MV Young, maybe I just got to split him off from the tag team division. Tag teams are really not performing well here. BWO, I can kind of see that this is kind of their thing. And Facade's doing really well. Reed Bentley did really well, and then obviously the title match. So we're improving. We're figuring things out. We're definitely getting in a flow. I know we're 6 months in, but we're really getting a flow here. It looks like Danny Miles is definitely out for a while, 51 days, and I know he can be worked, but he hasn't been performing too well anyway, so I guess this is his time to kind of take time off, because I do not want to hurt him anymore, and like I said, he hasn't really been performing the best anyways, so can you do? We also have now moved up into popularity 4. We're very slowly getting into it. Through some spillover, we have one popularity in New England, the Mid-Atlantic, and Gray Lake, so that's good to see. In sad news, Necro Butcher walks out on ECW. It's okay. I'm not too hurt about it. I mean, he wasn't performing that well. He's older. He had name value, but I don't think, barely name value though, because he wasn't 22 in Tri-State, so he was just as much as the other people for the most part. So it's sad, but it's definitely something that we are not going to really get hurt by. Other news too, Justin Credible officially retired, even though we retired him a few months ago. So that's the news. That's gonna do it for this part. Let me know in the comments any ways that I can improve this company and things that I can do better to fit the product. I'm going to go through the roster next episode, and I'm going to clean it out because we got a lot of people and they're getting upset because I'm not using them. So we're going to go through and clean the roster, and hopefully I get some advice on how to fix up, this company to make it a lot better. Please be gentle with me. This is a struggle, but I am committed to making this work. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.